The thoughts and opinions on this show does not represent the opinion of our employers or organizations. These are the opinions of the individual host. Sit back, relax, and let's chop it up at the Cornerstore.
Hey, welcome to the Corner Store. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great week. It's Wednesday, so hopefully you all are having a good hump day and going to finish the week strong. Tonight we have something special. I've been wanting to get this guy on the show since last year, and he's dear to my heart because I don't feel like I would be where I am today with how I got to where I am today without him. But before I bring him up, I'm going to bring my other co-host on tonight. It's going to be me and Micah tonight running the show. Micah,
Yep.
how you feeling, brother?
Man, pretty good. Feeling good. The Chiefs lost. Happy about that. So
I am too. I'm not really a Phillies fan, but they had a lot of Georgia Bulldogs on there, so happy to
yeah,
have that happen for them, man.
yeah,
But
that's the closest Georgia ever gonna get to a Super Bowl win. So
I know it's all around it, all around it. But thank you guys for tuning in once again. I'm Shannon Hot Dog Howard from Glenville, Georgia, along with my co-host Micah King. And you're in the Corner Store. This is a super special Corner Store tonight because we have American history in the building with us. We've already checked his technology. His audio is working. His camera is working. He's looking good. The lighting is good. His beautiful wife has also blessed us with her presence. But I want you guys to give a round of applause to the man himself, the legend, Coach William Hall. What's up, big coach?
I'm good, Shannon. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Coach. It's so good to see you. It's so good to hear you. So good to feel your presence. But I got one question for you. How does it feel to be one of one in all of American history?
You know, it feels so good. I really probably right now can't put it into words how great I feel, but I'm just so grateful to our Father in heaven for making this great feeling possible.
Awesome. We give God the grace and the honor and thank Him for blessing you for being able to teach, coach, and mentor so many generations. Like you went to school with my grandmother and then coach all of her kids and some of the grandkids. So we give God the honor of that. And coach, your memory is better than mine because you bring up stuff in our conversation that I forget about. So before you go, you got to tell us how we keep that good in mind. But I want to know: have you talked to Sterling since he's been inducted?
Well, I talked with him last night, and he called and he was telling me, he said, you made history there because, being the first coach to coach two brothers that's going to be inducted into the NF Hall of Fame. I told him, I said, that's why I was pulling so hard for you to get in there, because once you got in there, I know what the results would be. And we kind of smiled and laughed about it. But it was a great conversation.
Yeah, and honestly, coach, that kind of pulls all of us in there because you've coached them and you've coached us. I can say my coach is the only coach in America to coach two brothers that went into the Hall of Fame. So you brought us along with that honor and legacy, coach, from little old Glenville, Georgia.
yep.
You know, that's what's so amazing about it. We probably have less than 5,000 people in our community. And, we were in the smallest of classification there at one time in the state association. And for this kind of talent to be there and to display what they have done over the years, it just makes it so extra special. So extra special because with him going in, it gives us a lot of first. The first, I believe, state in the nation to have this, the first community and city like Glenville, the first county like Tatnall, and also, I guess you could say, uh, the first high school coach to have such an honor, which they made it possible, and I'm just so grateful. And then I was checking; he's the first Gamecock to be going into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Oh,
So
that
it's a
is
lot of
true.
first here.
Yeah, there's a lot of firsts. Yeah, it's just a blessing to have you here and living to be able to see it. And before we go on, Coach, do you recognize this joker right here in the camera? Can you see him?
You know, I wear glasses. I'm trying to see who it is.
He's still ugly, Coach. It's Edmund Richardson, Coach. Edmund Richardson.
Oh, hey man, that's one of my church members.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great there. I've been keeping up with your following, and you've done some great things there. And also being from little old Glenville, so it's just make you feel so happy when you see all this taking place.
Yeah, it's good. And Coach Edmund is doing great things. He's actually teacher of the year last year up at Druid Hills in Atlanta, right, Edmund? At Druid Hills High School?
Yes.
Okay. So that was another one of your pupils, even though he was scared to run track, Coach, but he listened to you in the class.
Well, hey, I passed it on to my son.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a great segue, Edmund. Coach Hall, Edmund has a son, well, two sons, but one is going to be a stellar athlete. And Edmund, go ahead and fill Coach Hall in on what we have going on with the young man.
Oh yeah, he running track. He this year we did indoor, so he's around right now as a sophomore, running about a 52 at the beginning of the season, and he's running around a 23 something in the 200. But we hope to get him. We hope to get him to break their school record, which is a 49.5 this year.
The time you quoted me, him just being a sophomore, that's a great start. That's a wonderful start. And that old saying goes that if you think you can do it, you can do it. It's all in a state of mind.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a great quote. And I always took that quote with me to Savannah State, Coach. If you think it's hard, but it's as easy as you think it and make it.
Okay.
So I always took that with me, and I appreciate that, Coach. And we don't want to hold you on too long, but we definitely want to ask you some great questions. If you take a look at your camera real quick, I want to see, what do you think when you see these two guys right here?
It's so many things. I was talking with a friend of mine up today up on Long Island, New York, and they were, talking about these two young men and, them being originally from Glenville. And when they see them, on TV and playing, they're just so proud to tell people, that they're from their neighborhood. And you see so many things. You see in them, you can achieve what you want to achieve, but there's a price that you have to pay because there's no shortcut to success. And it comes about through hard work and dedication. And they both demonstrated this when they was in high school. And I also saw them at times when they would come back, during the summer months, how they would still continue to work out. So that's the price they pay. It's the price you have to pay to reach what they have reached.
And I'm glad you brought up coming back, Coach. There's a lot of young people who have heard of the Sharps, but they didn't really get to see them play or see them in person. But can you just talk about how they came back and spoke to the youth, spoke to the churches, and they imparted into the community as they progressed in their careers?
Well, I was fortunate to bring Sterling to St. James AME Church. I think it might have been close to his senior year right there, and he did a wonderful job bringing a message at our church. And, he just told about, the price and the dedication that you have to do to reach, goals and things in life. It comes about because of, dedication and hard work. And he just told them just basically the way it really was and what you really have to do. And I know we brought him a couple of times to the schools. I know I think we brought him at the banquet he might have been a senior there and getting ready to be drafted by the Green Bay Packers. So, he came around and he, shared a lot. They both came back 2 years ago and spoke there at the middle school. And, that I think it was that field is named in their honor, you see. So,
Well,
I'm
thank you
just,
so much.
like I said, I told him I'm just proud, just to have known them and maybe played some little small role in their lives. And it just gives me a great feeling.
That's awesome, Coach. And thank you for clearing that up. So you guys have heard it. Shannon and Sterling have come back over the years. Coach talks about when Sterling came back and spoke to the church his senior year. I was in attendance. I actually recorded that video and remember him saying he got stopped by the State Patrol on the way into Glenville, and the State Patrol saw him who it was and told him to go right on ahead. So I always remember that. I always remember that. So, all right. So now it's for some tough questions, Coach. Outside of Sterling and Shannon, who would you say has been one of the best athletes you've ever coached, but they just didn't make it to the professional level?
Well, there was a lot of them. I think on the high school level, if I like that in track and field, Bobby Scott came down to Savannah State and probably had 4 great years at Savannah State. And also along with that group was Early Hagan, the late Early Hagens. He, ran to Richardson. He ran the quarter in the 40s, around 48. And he, along with Sterling and Shannon, have been inducted into Collegiate Hall of Fame. So you have to see, Early, did an outstanding job while he was there, and in Fort Valley State University. If you ever run there, you'll find a plaque with him, a buffing him, but he's in the Fort Valley State Athletic Hall of Fame.
Wow. Now you're breaking news on the show now, Coach. I never knew that. My dad would always tell me about Early Hagan and how good he was, and I didn't even know he went to Fort Valley. So that is amazing. And another person I always hear about is Tony Dinkins. Him and Dan Phillips. Can you tell us a little bit about their high school careers?
Well, the amazing thing was my first year of teaching and coaching, I was down there at the middle school at it was called Second Year then, and that's when we started a flag football program. And on their first year coming up to the high school, I went up a year before they did, and I was elevated to the head football coach. And so they were instrumental in turning things around. I was asked a question about what is it? These teams here, they the same team we've been playing. They used to beat up on them and things, and so they were beating up on us in the past. So I told them, a couple of things probably happened. They probably the same team, but maybe we just getting better. and I think that kind of explained, why we was on the rise there. And they had a great high school career, and they were the first 2 athletes that I coached that got athletic scholarships. And they went out to they gave us a trip out to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh wow!
And they used to send a lot of them to the NFL.
Sure did.
Yeah, matter of fact, I heard Tony
Payton,
Dinkins was
Walter Payton came out of Jackson State, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Yep. Now have you heard about this, Coach? Tony Dinkins was actually starting in front of Lester Hayes.
I'm not sure. Okay. Lester Hayes?
Yeah, what? It might have been someone. I think it might have been Lester. I'll have to get with Rodney Dinkins to see. It was one of those Hall of Famers, but they said Tony was starting at one point in front of him.
Yeah, well, I know after that first year there, I think he, I don't know if I think he might have gone into the military something there. I'm not really sure. That was back in the day in the '60s now. But
Yeah, yeah.
the
And we
amazing
have
thing about Tony, he had to overcome I think what he had was romantic fever, some type of serious illness, and through all that, he was still able to excel, and he did the football, basketball, and track. And one year, I think your dad was on this team. We played baseball, went to the state tournament, and won the first round in the state tournament. So, just for some great athletes back there during that time, they could do it all.
Yeah, now you still breaking history on me, coach. Like I didn't even know my dad went to state. And in 10th grade, I went to state and we made it to the Final Four in baseball. So that's even more breaking Black history with Coach Hall. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate those stories, Coach. We have a
Well,
few more questions for you. We won't keep you on too long. I know you stay up all night watching YouTube and stuff, but we won't keep you on too long.
okay.
One more question, a couple more questions for you, but that's enough about the guys. Who would you say has been one of the better female athletes that you've coached over the years?
I Well, Angela Nunley, you might know her. She she was outstanding for me in track, and she was the first female athlete that I had to win a state championship, and she did it in the 200. At that time, it was it was 200-meter dash, the state championship in her junior year in high school. So, and also we was able to. She was on like a region championship cross country team. You wouldn't find a sprinter that could also run cross country and still run the sprints and still the distance run. She was unusual, and she did all those things.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, yeah. I guess that speed runs in the family because that's one of my good
Yeah.
one of my good cousins. So a few more questions, Coach. What was that yellow car you had? Was it a Nova?
Yeah, 69 Nova.
Before you got rid of it, how many miles did you end up putting on it?
It was a lot. All I can tell you, it was a whole lot of them. We was asking a kid one time the count, and we kept raising the thing. And got to 1, raised to 2, then we got to 3. Then we threw up both. How many days? He said a whole heap of them. so, so it's a whole heap of miles.
So for the people who don't know, I have people on from everywhere across the country on tonight. How many years did you drive for over 60 miles one way from Glenville to Savannah?
Well, it started. See, when I finished Savannah State, I was blessed to go home and work, and then of course a few years later, I met the lady of my life. Well, we met in college, and so anyway, after we married, they always have the last say, and so that's when the journey from Glenville to Savannah started. And 19 might have been. I know she had a serious illness when we was up at the state track and field meet, and I had to leave and come back home. And it was from 1972 until I retired in 2011.
Wow.
So that's about about 39 years.
30, almost 40 years of going from Glenville to Savannah, which is over an hour drive in most cases. Well, when I rode with you home to Savannah State, it was an hour.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, though, it was always a happy ride because I was coming back home, and my dad went through some illness, and so that gave me a chance to be with him, every day. And the beautiful part of all that I'm so proud of, any success I've had as a coach and the success of my teams. And, I just believe that God had a plan for me, and that was a part of His plan. And He placed so many great people around me, and made so many things happen. And to me, that's just a beautiful part of it all. God bless and made it those trips seem so short.
Yeah, and He blessed us to have you in our life and witness all of that. You know how I feel about you. Like, I still carry your recommendation to Savannah State in my wallet to this day, and you
Okay.
personally took the time to write, and I got welcome into Savannah State, and you were the one that actually helped me get a football scholarship off of track tape. Like, they didn't even recruit me mainly off of football; they recruited me off of track. And thanks to your word, they remembered Shannon Sharp, and you told him you had another Shannon. And then Coach
Yeah.
Crosby saw you the next time. He's like, "He's gonna be all right." He was talking like, "He's all right, Coach." So I really appreciate that. And when you talk to Shannon, tell him I'm kind of following in his footstep. I wore number 3 because they were retired number 2. I played receiver. He played receiver. He made it to the pros. I made it to professional in financial services and banking. He has a podcast. Now I have a podcast with my boys here. So tell him I'm still kind of following in his footsteps.
Well, I surely will, but I want you to know one thing. I'm just as proud of you as any athlete, including Shannon and Sterling and all others, Earl and all those, because you went down there and you just did well, and I had a chance to see some of those like that. What is it? That touchdown you ran back from the kickoff, and and I remember when I was told Coach Crosby, I said, I told him about you. He said, just send him on down. We don't need no film or nothing. If you say he can play, he can play. And that's how, when you got there, that's what he, went on the record and all that you did in high school. He just said it. And that's what made me feel so proud of, Coach Crosby. Because he told me, he said, Coach Hall, if you say he can play, he can play.
Wow.
That's how you got there.
Yeah, I sure appreciate you. And to this day, he still reaches out and we communicate. And he's went back to coaching and just won a state championship in high school. So,
Coach Crosby?
yeah, he sure did.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
I got the Morris Brown. He was the coach there.
Yeah,
He was.
He sure was.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coach. So do you bring back great memories? Last thing, one of my fondest memories, I don't know if you remember this, I caught a touchdown at homecoming, and it was right in front of you on the track.
Yeah, because I almost beat you to the end zone.
I know.
I think they picked me up on film there.
Yeah,
I was down there when you got there.
You sure were. And if it was during these times, I would have ran over and high five you. We would have did a dance together.
Yeah,
So,
but like I said, if people got to understand, you did this. See, when I was growing up, I spent a lot of time growing up in Long Island, New York, and see, baseball was always my favorite. And I had the opportunity because we didn't live that far from Brooklyn. I used to go to the Dodgers to Ebbets Field, $2, and you sit right back in the Dodgers dugout. And that was, to me, it just was a wonderful, unique experience. And so, we have planned. He got plans for us, and just be patient and let him lead and guide you, and the end results will always be good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Real quick, Rodney Dinkins on one of your former athletes and Hall Wall of Fame. Rodney Dinkins, he said it was Mel Blount that his dad was competing with. And we all remember Mel Blount, the Hall of Famer.
Yeah. See, Mel Blount came to Tatton his senior year. The last time I checked, he scored about 5-6 touchdowns on it. He was a wide receiver in high school, but then they went to college and they made a defensive back out of him. And so that just shows you the kind of talent he has. I remember him well.
Yeah, that area and period, coach, there's a lot of talent coming out there from Sterling and Shannon to some of the other NFL greats just from that Coastal Empire area. And you've coached, you got Charlie Smith there in Beach. I saw him last year. he brought up some of our old track meets and how we used to beat them at the John Young relays and all of that. So
yeah,
great
but
memories. And go ahead, Coach.
I'm going to mention. I saw him maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We had breakfast together there, and I told him I was kidding him. I said, "Call your name." I said he made you look real great. I said, but you was always trying to catch up with us, that little Class B school from down there in Glenville, and we just had fun about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Coach, that's been good chatting with you. I'm gonna turn it over to Edmund or Micah to see if they have any questions. Edmund, you're a historian, and Micah, he's also a historian. Micah's also been in the politics, Coach, which I know you keep up with everybody and everything. But I'm gonna turn it over to these guys to see if they have any questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's you live in history, Coach, living Black history, and I just wanted to kind of talk about the transition from Tapman Industrial High School over to Glenville High School and kind of how that was and how it played out for you back then.
Well, believe it or not, I mean, we had a smooth transition, and so see, we had a run there. Like I think it what was it, track and field. We had a run of about 4 straight years of a region championships. And the one year we didn't get it, we finished second in the region. Then we went to the state and finished second in the state, and we were region runner up. So it was a smooth transition. Uh, some great things went on.
Awesome. Edmund, you got anything?
I just want to ask a question for my son. So for a kid like him that's a sophomore who wants to eventually hit that 40, that sub 40, sub 50 mark this year, what's some of the things you advise him to do?
Well, I'm sure his coach will work out a good training plan there. And I know I had Tracy Coley. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
We set a goal because distant runners, usually those champions always came from the northern part of the state. And so our goal was, he was a senior, and we was going to win that 3,200 meter run. And so, when you leave Glenville High School and where you turn off to go to the Sand Hill down 144, that's where we would start our training. He'd run all the way back from there to the school. We did so many repetitions around the track and everything. And from that hard work, we got to the state, and we put a plan in, and the plan was to cruise the first 7 laps, and on the 8th lap, we got to the probably the 300 meter mark, and he just sprint for the rest of the way, and boom, there he was a state champion his senior year. That's the goal he set, and he worked hard towards it.
Wow,
that's awesome. I remember Tracy was an awesome track athlete, cross country and all of that. But Coach, why did you take us to the tree down there and tell us this? We'll see you back at the school?
That was we used to have everybody did it, sprinters and all. You had to go to the tree and come back to the school. That just was the little warm up. And see, that year we started off the mile relay. We were way up close to 350, but from that method of training, we dropped it down to the 320s in the state track and field meet. So that's why the tree was always that famous landmark for us.
Coach, someone needs to do an autobiography on you, Coach, or a movie. And if you had somebody to play you in a movie from Glenville, who would you get to play you?
That's a good question. I'll let you answer that one.
I don't know. After seeing Sterling lately on TV, I'm starting to wonder, is that Coach Hall's son? Because y'all sure starting looking like you might have to get Sterling to play you. I said we might have to get Sterling to play you.
Okay. Yeah, he's always full of fun every time I'm around him and everything.
Yeah, he's always been fun. I always tell my son about the story he gave me and my dad a ride home. He had 100 cassette tapes, it seemed like, in a suitcase in the back seat. And I'm getting out the car and drop every last one of them on the floor. And I was like, ooh, Sterling ain't gonna ever give me a ride. But he said, don't worry about it. I'll get my girlfriend to clean it up in the morning. I said, ooh, Sterling all right with me. So, yeah, great guy. And a lot of that comes from you, with you being a great mentor to all of us, Coach, a great teacher, a great coach. Even I remember the times of you getting the track team to come buff the floors at St. James. You remember that, Coach?
Yeah, I told somebody about that.
That'll
They
be
came
illegal today.
and took out the pews and everything. I had to go down to what was it, McDonald's or the chicken house or somewhere. But yeah, we did a great job there. But you know, though, the thing that what I'm so amazed about through it all is that, like I said, and in the success I've had and the success of the teams, all of it came from right there in Glenville and Tatnall County.
Yeah.
That's the thing. What's so amazing to me.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah. Last thing right here, Coach, I promise. But all these years of coaching, going back and forth to the church and calling games throughout the summer, like you did so many miles a year. You did more probably than most Greyhound bus drivers do. But in order to do all of that, you had to have a special someone who understood your dedication to the community, the kids, and those that looked up to you. How has it been to have someone like Ms. Hall to be by your side all these years and understand the dedication that you've given to the community?
Well, you know, that's it. I just so much appreciation. You know, she always was by my side, and always in any way that she could help, she helped out. And a lot of time I should be home doing things she was doing, and it just makes this kind of situation that I've been blessed to have happened to me, just so greatly appreciated. And she played a major role in it, a major part of it, because without her cooperation, I could not have done it.
Yeah, well, we want to say thank you. And if you're listening in the chat, put thank you, Mrs. Hall, in the chat for allowing her husband to be a father figure to a lot of people, a coach to most people, a mentor to all of us, and a great friend to a lot of our grandparents, and not only grandparents, to us, period. Because once you get someone like you in our lives, Coach Hall, if we had more people like you, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I appreciate all that, and I got a daughter that follows me very closely too. She sees things on the internet that I don't see. She'll call me, say, I saw this and that on there. So she been a great support of the work I've tried to do. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, any last things you want to say?
No, I just thank you all. That return that I was having. I was up at Tatnall today with a retired teacher meeting, and and I met another sport person, and I was telling them, I said, well, I got to go now because I got to do a podcast tonight. And they were trying to figure out who was it. I would never tell. And like that. And so then they went to say, man, you got to be special to get on something like that. So, that's what's been to happen tonight. And
yes, sir. Well, we got to get you over to Club Shay Shay too, Coach. Now, if you make it to Club Shay Shay, you made it, Coach. So we putting out the Shannon Sharp now. We need Coach Hall on Club Shay Shay.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Well, so we speaking in existence now, putting it in the air. Coach Hall to Club Shay Shay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, if that's it, Coach Hall, we just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Now, how about this? You say I get a copy of this?
Yes, sir. What I'm going to do when it's over, I'm going to have it downloaded, and then I'm going to send you a copy. And Duck still record everything, so I have Duck to put it on DVD for you.
Okay. All right. I'll send my daughter, because she'll flip when she sees this.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you the digital link, too. Now, you may have to get Miss Hall to show you how to do that. But
okay. Okay, just let me know when you're going to send it then.
I sure will. All right, let's put W Hall in the chat. W Hall in the chat, and thank you, Coach, in the chat. Thank you, Coach.
Legend.
Well, he got a lot of admirers online. There's a lot of people on here.
And a lot of good feedback.
A lot of great feedback. Let's give him
tell everybody I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, all. And this is the beautiful part about coaching. You have some days that you have some rough times, but through it all, this is today to do something like this, and especially with former athletes and former students, it's just super special.
It is. Oh, is this your first podcast, Coach Hall?
You had me online for something one time. I don't know whether we talked on the phone.
Phone interview.
Yeah, something else. I remember.
Okay, so this is actually your first podcast then.
Oh yes,
Oh, W Hall in the chat. We just made history again tonight for interviewing the only coach in America to have coached two brothers to go into the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we had him at the Cornerstore before he went to Club Shay Shay. How about that? Let's go, Coach. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, if nothing else, Coach, thank you so much for coming on. Thank Mrs. Hall for allowing you to come on with us.
I tell her I'm gonna take that and buy an ice cream sandwich or something for. If she weren't here, I probably never would have been able to do this. I tell her that you all appreciate it.
Yeah, treat her right now, because you remember when we won state, you bought us pizza and you had a steak. You remember that?
Yeah. Y'all had the choice. That's what y'all wanted. Well, okay then. Y'all have a good night then.
All right, sir.
All right, you too. Right. Love you, Coach.
Take care, Coach Hall.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Man, that was super awesome. Let's give it up again for Coach William Hall.
Legendary.
Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame, and he's now the only coach in American history to coach two brothers to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That is Sterling and Shannon Sharp. Man, that brought back so many memories, guys. What do y'all have to say? What is your fondest memory of Coach Hall coming up?
Always joking and having a banana on him when his blood sugar was low.
Always.
And always talking junk.
Always had more jokes than anyone.
He had a lot of Coach Hallisms. I remember he had a lot of good one-liners. He told somebody, you about to slide down a razor blade hill into an alcohol river. Yeah, and then he made me run. I just wanted to do the discus and the shot put, but he made me run the first leg of the second team 100-meter relay. And I said, Coach Hall, I'm not going to win. He said, Mike Kane, I ain't want you to win. I just want you to run. We need the point.
Hey, that's so true. Man, he put me in the 300-meter hurdle. Now, I played baseball and would go from baseball to track meets. I never practiced with track until the season was over from baseball. Man, this joker put me in the 300-meter hurdles. I ain't never jumped a hurdle in my life.
You right?
Man, by the time I got to the end, I was vertical leaping, jumping off 2 feet. I was like, Coach, that ain't for me, Coach. He said, you did good, you hammerhead sucker. So in the chat, put your most memorable Coach Hall moment or Coach Hallism in the chat. Anything you remember from sports, being in school, or just being around him. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met, but also one of the most inspirational people you could ever meet in your life. Yes, so sir. Thank you once again, Coach Hall. I know you're going to see this replay, but back to the guys. We're not going to be on long tonight because we have Roderick's not here, Big Al's not here, Kelly's not here. But we do have some trending topics to talk about. The State of the Union. But before we get to that, the Super Bowl halftime show. How did y'all like it? It was okay. There's nothing really to celebrate with the State of the Union. So I don't know why everybody wanted to be entertained from my standpoint. But what do you guys think about it?
I mean, I actually enjoyed it. And you know, with Kendrick Lamar, even when you listen to his records, you're gonna have to listen 2, 3, 4 times in order to get it. And I mean, the guy is just a artistic genius when it comes to his music and even his performances. And everybody was so caught up on Dre. It was just so many other messages that he was putting out during that performance that you know evaded everybody's, you know, I guess what they thought the show, because you know we want to be entertained. Everybody want a Beyonce, or they want a Rihanna, they want the popular songs. But he was out there, just like he said, the revolution will be televised, and y'all picked the wrong guy because he was gonna give you something, and you know, and I appreciated it for what he put out. And then I love the fact how he had Samuel Jackson really playing his role as Steven from Django, you know, telling him, you know, careful, don't do that. You know, he was basically the house Negro, and he was telling him, you know, don't do that. You're too ghetto, and all the things that we hear. And I just felt like he sent a clear message that may have gone over some people's heads. But I think when you sit down and you watch it, you truly understand what he was really trying to say and do.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of them performances where it was different for the Super Bowl. I was like, you know, I think a lot of times the aesthetics of how they do the performances and people rushing the field and being all excited, and most people have live bands and they just do a lot in pyrotechnics and all these different things that add to the aesthetic and the feel of it, feeling like a concert at halftime. And he kind of didn't do that. It was more so like Evan said, it was really poetic. It was more like a dramatization of his interpretation of what's happening in America right now. At first, I was kind of like, I kind of want to hear some of the classics that he has, but at the same time, it was a good halftime show. Very artistic, very even articulate. Tubi probably could have used some sound text, some better sound text, but all in all, it was pretty good to me.
Yeah, and I gave it an 8 out of 10 because of the audio in the beginning. I couldn't really hear what he was saying to make out for it, but being a creative, I just appreciate the artistry of it. And then some of the subliminal stuff, I had to go back and watch it 2 or 3 times to see everything that, you know, some of these internet philosophers were breaking down. And I was like, wow, he really put some thought into this. And with him, I mean, to make it that far off of a diss track, because without Not Like Us, if that doesn't come out, I don't see him doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
and that wasn't even the focal point of the. I mean, he performed it, a piece of it, but I don't think that was even though that was the big moment everybody was waiting for. I don't think that was the focal point of the halftime.
I think it was a great culmination of the whole message that he was portraying. Right. It's like not only Dre, you know, through the beef with him and Dre, I'm gonna say Drake. I think it was like America, you not like us. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that he said up to that point is that America, you not like us. You know, and when you look, like even when he was up on the stage in between, that message was sending that America's divided. It was like between the American flag, and then he had them bend over, like America was built on the backs of black folk, you know, and you know, so there was just so much there to unpack that people just went over people's head because we want to be entertained. I think reality TV has messed us up, man. I was telling my class this the other day. I was just like, everything we do has been destroyed, and you know, ever since the 90s with this thing called the real world, it messed up a society, and everybody wants to be entertained and no one wants to think anymore. We don't read, we don't do any of these things, we just want to be entertained. And now why do you think Trump is back in office? I know that, and that's where we're going next. I think the media is complicit in the rise of Trump again. They love this drama. Reality TV has desensitized us to what is right and what is wrong. When you look at Trump, they like Trump. Every morning you get up, he sends a tweet, he drives the news. That means more ratings for them. They didn't like Biden. Biden was too boring. Kamala would have been too boring because they would have been professionals doing the job of president. This man doesn't know what he's doing. He can lie to his supporters. They believe him. Just like today, he going to issue a statement on Twitter. Oh, Biden's inflation. No, you said if you got elected that inflation was going to go down, prices were going to go down. All this stuff is going to go down. And so now you change your tune now that you're in office because you done swindle your supporters and you entice people to stay home and other people to vote against their self-interest. These people care about white supremacy. Their goal is white supremacy. If you look at what has happened over the last 4 years, it's been an all-out assault on Black people, but they've done it subliminally. I tell my students, I said, in order to understand where we are, you need to study the Southern strategy. The Southern strategy started in the 60s as white fear and backlash to the progress of Black people. They started out and if you think I'm lying, go look up a guy by the name of Lee Atwater. Lee Atwater said, we can no longer say nigger, nigger, nigger no more. We got to use subliminal words and say, oh, busing, forced busing. We got to use smaller government, lower taxes, because when we talk about those things, to implement those things, it hurts Black people. And so we get what we want. So they entice these people to vote, especially in southern and rural areas, to vote against their own self-interest because they hate Black people that much. So then guess what they use now? They no longer use the words of small, they still use small government. Now they use woke, woke, DLN, not DEI. All these things go towards thinking that Black folks are getting something or taking something from them, when in all actuality, DEI has helped more white women, middle-class white women, than they helped anybody else. But these are the things that they do when you have people voting against their own self-interest because they hate Black people so much. And it's astonishing to me.
And that's another reason why the performance was good, because he did that on Tubi, which is owned by Fox, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch, who was probably the biggest Trump supporter and probably the biggest reason why Fox News is in existence. And we know that's the main purveyor of Trumpisms and everything that he has going on and everything that Evan is talking about. That's the media machine. And so for Kendrick to do that on that stage, basically the stage of Rupert Murdoch, was powerful to me.
Yeah. It was, and I don't know, you might have been in diapers though, Micah, but I don't know if you guys remember this in the chat. There used to didn't be a Super Bowl halftime show, and Fox didn't have the Super Bowl, but Fox would run in living color live during the Super Bowl halftime, and all of the minority people or Blacks would go over and watch that, and then Fox took note of that, and then that's how they built Fox News, Fox, all of that. Off the
Black people built Fox News. Black people built Tubi. Tubi is owned by Rupert Murdoch.
They took that same model from Fox over to Tubi. So Fox owns Tubi as well. That's when you had your Martins, your Rocks, all of the Black shows start showing on Fox. And then that's when they started getting all the money in the build out to get the Super Bowl and then Fox News and all of that. So
Tubi didn't even do it off of like old reruns of shows like that. They did it off of independent Black filmmakers.
My wife loved Tubi movies.
This culture, Black people have built the culture. We built everything in this country. It's a shame how they don't want to give us credit. But we give it its flavor. We in Black History Month, man. Without Black people, this country will be like a piece of a chicken breast with no seasoning.
No seasoning. Dry. No juice.
Salad with raisins. Yeah, I don't know, man. The state of the union is just so depressing right now, because I saw what could have been with Kamala, and I saw what would likely be with Trump, and now we're in that likely be phase. And I don't know, man. Hashtag leaving MAGA has been floating around, and they're finally having that.
No, they deserve everything they get. No, these folks have been. This stuff is not new, y'all, and y'all know this. I'm preaching to the choir here, but Dr. King said it in his speech in Montgomery after the Selma March. He was like, "Look, these folks have fed these folks the belief that Black folk are, you hungry and you may be suffering, but at least you're not suffering, and at least you're better than the best Black man." And they fed themselves that for all these years. They'd rather for us to suffer. Why do you think there's always an issue when Ronald Reagan in 1976 labeled this Black woman in Chicago the welfare queen? They projected that Black folks are the biggest recipient of these this government assistance. When black folks, we're on 13% of the population, we only get about 21% of federal government assistance. That's food stamps, Medicaid, and all these other programs. But many people have you believe that black folks are the biggest recipients when white folks receive about 40 or something percent of government assistance. So when you look at them cutting and they say you want to get rid of the Department of Education, guess who's going to be hurt? These rural schools who rely on Title I funding. So all those Promethean boards and all those computers you get, all of those that fund teachers in those rural areas that couldn't afford them otherwise, you're going to be hurt. So you're thinking you're hurting black people, but you're hurting yourself.
Big facts, bro. Big facts. And then there, I hear a lot of people talking about handouts. People are just looking for handouts, but they don't realize when the banking industry gets bailed out, the car industry gets bailed out, all those farmers get bailed out. Those are handouts. Those are our tax dollars. So the same tax dollars you complain about Willie Joe getting next door are the same tax dollars that Bank of America may get to get bailed out of a hardship.
I watched recently watched The Big Short, that movie about the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
And basically at the end, the banks didn't care that they were doing what they were doing because they knew the government was going to bail them out. So they kept doing the junk bonds and they kept doing the bad mortgages. And the consumers got the short end of the stick. And the banks didn't care. Why? Because the government was going to say, well, give them $32 billion. Give them this amount of money. And people will be like, well, this person doesn't deserve student loan forgiveness, or this person doesn't deserve the $500 in whatever SNAP that they may be getting, that they may need because groceries are high. And it's not even taking away anything from me or from that person. They just don't want them to have it because they feel like for some reason it's taking something away from them, even though the real robbers are the bankers, those big banks and Wall Street.
Call them the robber barons. But see, the crazy part about this is they got us down here arguing with each other, these rich folk. They got poor black people, poor white people arguing with each other over cultural issues while they are robbing us and taking us to the bank. When if we united, see, if you go back in history, see, Miss Coleman used to always say, when you don't understand history, it will repeat itself. How we ended up in chattel slavery. See, we didn't have original slavery. So for all those folks out there, black people sold people into slavery, or black people had slaves. No, we had this thing called chattel slavery. You had white people and black people, and you worked your debt off. A lot of our poor people came from Europe to work their debt off. It wasn't until these white folk and black folks came together and said, we need to have a talk now. Y'all need to give us some of this land, and y'all need to do all. They started rebelling. And so they's like, look, we can't have these folks teaming up. So let's separate them. So we'll give the these white poor folks something, but we're gonna start this system called chattel slavery. They've always divided us because they knew if poor whites and poor blacks and working class blacks and working class whites came together, this country will be changed for the better. But they got us down here arguing with each other over stupid stuff while they sit here taking us to the bank and criticizing student loan forgiveness. Like right now, Trump has gotten rid of the Consumer Protection Agency that was created to be the watchdog for us, to make sure that these banks and these businesses are not taking advantage of us. Why nobody's up in arms about that? They think we're so polarized that we can't even see just sensible, common sense things that are in place to protect us.
And what's crazy is Consumer Protection Bureau. That is huge. Earlier this year, they just passed, or they just got it approved, where medical debt can't show up on your credit report.
Yes.
You know how big that is for people going toward home ownership and trying to increase their credit score? That's huge. So now you're taking away the bureau and the agency that got that approved, that got that through. That's not gonna hurt rich people. That's gonna hurt us with medical debt and medical bills, and who already are struggling to keep their credit up. That's gonna hurt.
Credit card late fees. It also caps that. And having all those junk fees and all of that. So
And what kills me is these poor people around here, because we all middle class, working class people. You around here fighting to protect these people when you make under $400,000, where your taxes are not really going to actually, under this proposed tax cut that they're proposing, our taxes may go up. And see, here's the thing, like, no one's talking about this thing that they're trying to swindle. see, I hate this whole debate, around cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. See, what people don't talk about, they're only arguing about 30% of the budget. No one's talking about this 70% over here, the entitlement spending we have. That's 70% of our budget. The 30% includes the transportation, the military, SNAP benefits, welfare, everything in government outside of these entitlements. Entitlements is Social Security, Medicare, retiree government benefits for employees, all that stuff. That's 70% of the budget. No one's talking about that, but it's sexy over here to talk about this stuff while we can take away the money from people that really need it over here to aid the people. It's the reverse Robin Hood that's taking place. Yeah. We don't even see it.
Yeah, it really is, man. And just if you're out there, please stay in tune with everything going on with Doge. I mean, they have access to all of our information. I know I put in our group chat, make sure everyone's staying on top of their credit right now.
Yeah.
And there's a code word going on. I don't know if you guys have seen it out there where the group Anonymous, who is a group of hackers, but they're on the good side, where they're hacking people like 47 and some other officials. But there's also a bad side out there. So it could be a cold war where information is being hacked and shared out there. And there's a lot of data breaches that are going on. So just make sure you're paying attention to your credit out there, step on your bank accounts and all of that good stuff as well.
Yeah, get any free software you can take advantage of that does credit monitoring, that does ID monitoring, take advantage of it. Pay attention to your information because you don't want to be caught off guard when it comes to that type of stuff because it could get out of hand real quick.
Yep. All civil. I think they've stopped all civil cases right now that were at the civil level.
Man, this man is running a mafia government. If you support him, if I was on trial right now before the federal courts, I'll go down there and kiss the ring and say, I support you. I mean, everybody cases get robbed. Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. But for a party who says it stands for law and order, this man is breaking the law. But this is what happens with white supremacy and white Christian nationalists, because they are disguising this. I've been doing research lately on the whole movement of this white Christian nationalist. It started with a pastor out of Dallas, Texas, and they use the Bible to justify this. And so when you see people like Jensen Franklin and Paula White and all these folks, it's this white Christian nationalist movement. And it's no different than if you're familiar with history, westward expansion, the manifest destiny, where we can kill anybody, we can do whatever we want to do because God ordained for us to possess land from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific. And this is the same mindset that these people have today. We don't care. We don't care if we kill you, because the ends justifies the means, because we are here, warriors for God.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, I mean, you always preaching and cooking them up, man. We're only 3 weeks into this thing and have 4 years to go. For those who are in despair, they voted for Kamala. Okay, it is what it is right now, but it becomes depressing. Like, the news is depressing to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend, or what kind of advice can you give them to navigate through these times?
Well, I will say a few things. One, you still need to be involved and be vigilant about what's going on, but you still can get involved at the local level and make your voice heard at the local level. Your city council meetings, your county commission meetings, your school board meetings. We have elections coming up. You know, if you really committed and you see now that elections have consequences, now is the time to begin to organize and get people engaged and let them know you got a election coming up, maybe some off-year elections coming up next year, 2025. I know we have a governor's election coming up in 2026. We got a whole lot coming up. So it's like Coretta Scott King said it best. She says, freedom is a never-ending battle. We have to fight for it and win it in every generation. We've gotten complacent, and sometimes, and I hate to say this, we as a people needed this, because we got these Facebook philosophers and people who out here preaching stuff and saying stuff because they never understood how the system works. Now you're getting a front row seat to understand that elections have consequences. When you say you don't do politics, I'm going to tell you, politics will do you. And we are seeing right now how politics is going to do a lot of people. There are going to be a lot of people hurt because of our negligence and how we, abdicated our responsibility during this election cycle. But sometimes it takes something like this to wake us up and lure us out of our sleep to know that you have to get out here and fight every day.
Yeah, there is no off season. And you got to go back, and they never took, even though, hey, at one point Democrats ran the state of Georgia. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get elected in some of these areas until they started gerrymandering and stuff. But this plan, where we got to now, didn't start in 2016. It didn't start in 2008. It started in like 1960 something. That plan started then, and they said, all right, we got to play these slow games. How did they do it? They built up at the local level. They started gerrymandering lines. They started, it's hard to get a Republican unelected here in this part of the state because of how bad the lines are drawn. There's no excuse why Buddy Carter should be representing Savannah.
Absolutely.
Why is Buddy Carter representing Savannah? That doesn't make sense.
They knew how they play lone ball. See, we so emotional. Like they said, look, we know we want to start consolidating power at the local level. Then once we consolidate power at the local level, then we'll go and we're going to focus on these courts because we know if we get the judges on our side, because guess what? How did African Americans get their rights? African Americans didn't get their rights through legislation at first. It was through the courts. And they know how powerful the courts are. We wouldn't have got Brown versus Board of Education and some of this other stuff without the courts. It was the Warren Court, one of the most progressive courts in United States history, that gave us a lot of the rights that we have today. Like, they knew that. So they started out after Roe v. Wade, when I told you they started this whole religious rights movement in the late 60s, early 70s, and had a long game outlook. That Jared Falwell, Pat Robertson,
yep.
The moral majority, all that stuff, they started years ago, and they never gave up, even when they lost, even when Republicans did not fulfill their responsibilities for them. They still stayed on the battlefield because they had a long game approach. Democrats saying, why would I not support a party that gives me 60% of what I want to, and then stay home, or even go over and support a party that don't give me 0% of what I want? Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, with no one that looks like you over there on that side. Yeah, it makes no sense.
I'm not saying Democrats are perfect and they've done everything right, but I'm not going to cut my nose off to spite my face.
Yeah. So stay vigilant out there. Stay aware. Stay woke. For lack of for more of a better term. Stay aware of your surroundings. Stay aware of your politics. Stay aware of your local engagement. But most of all, stay aware of your health. How are you guys doing on your health, man? Because all the politics don't matter if we're sick on the shut-in list.
Absolutely.
You're right. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I got to do a little bit better, but we getting there. I just had a checkup, so that's one good thing. Had to get your yearly, get your annuals, and all that stuff. So
I'm doing good. Fruits and vegetables. That's it right now. Just trying to stay and work out consistently and keep a great program, because I got to get down this year. That's my goal, to get down and be healthy, because I got to be around a little while. I got some young ones and I want to be around for them.
Yeah, the older we get, the more maintenance we need. Like, it's just like having a car. If you don't maintain that car, get the oil change and the transmission, all that, it's going to eventually break down. So your body is the same way. So the older we get, the more maintenance we need. And if it's tough for you to start going to the gym or lifting weights, just start walking.
Yeah, and
walking is honestly,
to be practical, that's what I've been doing. Like, I've been out of the gym a while working out. So I said, before I pay a trainer, before I do anything, I want to create a consistent routine where I wake up 4:00 in the morning, give me time to go pray, meditate, then go to the gym. I'm 5 minutes away from LA Fitness. Go there and walk 2 to 3 miles and just do that consistently and create that, because those small things, they become bigger victories. And so you don't got to start out big. Hey, I didn't get here overnight, sitting here eating all this stuff. So I got to take baby steps to get me back to where I need to be.
No doubt. And with the economy, looks like it's going up in inflation and it's going to crunch those grocery bills. What advice do you guys have for those out there that are looking at their expenses, their food, their essentials? Can you eat the Cheetos like you used to eat the Cheetos? Or
No, we gotta
Go ahead, Mike.
we gotta go back to the basics, right? Go back to what kept our older generation. You know, we gotta go back if you can, especially if you live in this part of the country. Start a garden, right? Start growing some fresh fruits and veggies. I mean, that helps with health too, because you get outside, get some fresh air, get some steps in. But if you can start a garden, I would love for somebody to start a community garden. That would be awesome. I don't have a
yeah,
green thumb though, so I might not be the most qualified. But yeah, start a garden if you can. Stick to the basics. Make the right choice. So if you have a choice, you know, when you're thirsty, that don't mean you have to reach for a soda. You can drink water. You're thirsty, so drink water. You know.
And I say we need to get back to our roots, because even in Glenville, I mean, we didn't get a McDonald's in Glenville until like 1994, 5,
It was,
something like that.
it
But
was,
my thing is, we didn't eat out like that because you didn't have many restaurants. Dairy Queen, you got that probably on a Friday, or McDonald's on a Friday. But now we eating out so much. We're not cooking like we used to. Our mama used to work at Ithaca and then come home and still cook a meal and make sure we eat, you know. But it was a wholesome meal. It wasn't a bunch of junk. But now we eating everything, and it's taking a toll on us, man. And we dying off, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, you know, all these things are affecting us now because we don't move like they used to move. They work. We more sedentary now than our parents were. And now that they slow down, they're still eating the same and getting sick because they're not moving like they used to. So we got to make some changes.
we got to stay self-aware and have conscious of it. And the processed food is the biggest difference I see from the previous generations to now. Like, there's so many chemicals and artificial things going into the food we eat now, and we're not moving like we used to. So that's the perfect storm to have an early end of life. So let's stay conscious of it. Last few things, fellas, man. With the state of America and the way it is, it looks like the rest of the world is against us. But the rest of the world is opening up citizenship. If you could pick anywhere else in the world to go and live for 3.5 more years, where would you go?
Ghana.
That's my choice too. I'm actually looking into it because you can get dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
But well, what about you, Mike?
It's too many choices. Ghana definitely on the list. One of the Asian countries, not Taiwan, Thailand. I heard that was okay, but really, I'm just trying to go somewhere where I can eat good. So as long as just talk about all this health stuff, but I know I'm eat good in Ghana. Yeah, I know we eat good in Ghana. Definitely ain't going nowhere in Europe. Their portion size is too small. In Thailand,
yeah, they'll have you in skinny jeans over in Europe, bro. Yeah, man. But once again, shout out to our other host that couldn't make the show tonight, Big Al. I saw him earlier today, and then Roderick, he's off handling business, and he'll be back again on our next show.
I saw somebody said, "Bring me on, Eric." We didn't drop the link in the chat.
Who wants to come on?
Eric, Gerard.
Oh, he wants to come on. Okay.
I just saw that.
Eric. Yeah, Eric. That's
Gerard.
Gerard, yeah. Is he still on? Edmund, do you see him on there?
I saw him in it. I just looked at.
I don't know if he's still on. But yeah, while we talking about all this stuff, though,
you want to come on and say something? Come on.
Right. while we getting that together, I do want to just say, review everything. We can control what we can control. Some of the stuff they're doing now, it's out of our hands at this point, but we can control our health. We can take charge of that. We can control our finances, right? We can do a review of your finances, see where everything is right now, see what your credit is looking like, see what your debt is, work on a plan to pay that off. Look at that cash flow. Make sure you don't spend more than you make. So control what you can control and let God handle the rest, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Good
Control
stuff,
what's
Mike. Good stuff,
controllable.
Mike. The link is in the chat.
Yep. If you want to come up, click the link on the chat. We'll bring you up on the show. You don't have to actually turn on your camera unless you want to. We can just bring your audio up. But like Michael said, control what you can control, and then pray over the what's uncontrollable, and faith around and find out. I know we're in the find out phase from the other part, but this time we got a faith around and find out.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes,
oh
sir.
yeah, before I go, Edmund assisted in a big project that's going to be coming next month. Edmund, you want to fill them in on the target?
Oh yeah. There's it's Target is a focal point for marketing reasons, but there are a lot of companies that went back on their commitments to diversity, equity, inclusion. See, I don't let them get away with the DEI, because most people, when they say DEI, probably if you ask the average person what DEI is, they couldn't tell you. They probably want to say it's the N word for some people. But DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Many companies in the wake of George Floyd getting killed on a national television committed to leveling the playing field and giving trying to make sure that African Americans and other minority groups had access to different resources and things like that, especially in their company. And Target made a commitment to invest, I think, $2 billion within the African American community to help solve some of the root causes within our community, to provide access to business, job opportunities, etc. And so they've gone back on those programs, especially in this era of Trump. And so the church that I attend, and my pastor, also my brother, has
my pastor no
embarked on this initiative to fast from spending any money at Target or any other store that has pretty much gone back on their commitments to us as a people. And so for 40 days during Lent, we will not be spending money there. We will be spending our money with Black-owned businesses. And there's a link that will be available through the U.S. A Black Chamber of Commerce, where you can get access to many African-American companies that sell products that we can buy from and benefit from, and not spend our money with people that don't want to, value our dollar and value our lives. And so I like in the conversations I had with Mr. Bryant, I should call him Pastor Bryant, is that this has to be bigger than what we did when we had the Montgomery bus boycott, because yes, we boycotted, but we went back and gave them our money. This is an opportunity for us to even go even bigger, where we can possibly start and support our own businesses and have money circulating in our own communities and help build up our own communities, something we are not known for doing. And so this is the start, but I think it's going to be a big initiative. He's asking for 100,000 people to sign on, but I think we're probably already surpassed that and probably have more. A lot of people are buying into the vision and are trying to support.
Yeah, not only just sign on to it, but we're asking everyone to divest from your stocks, and their stocks dropped by $11, I think, last week. And
a lot. They lost like $15 billion. It was some kind of crazy number.
Yes.
And this is before the Target fast even takes place, which is next March. So
and go ahead.
Don't let Target fool you. Just because they sell it with a black face on it does not mean it's Black owned. So it does not mean they rededicated themselves to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're just trying to use a black face to trick people. Do not let these companies fool y'all into thinking that just because they got a black face on it, it's Black owned and they care about black issues all of a sudden.
And we got to make these people respect us, because I'm going to be quite honest, you would never see them go back on any initiative they have for the Jewish community. They would never do that. We allow these people to disrespect us, and we'll still go buy their stuff. Just like, a while ago, where there was an issue on the soapbox in Glenville where Zubair came on and said some things, and we couldn't even be together around, that whole initiative to not have somebody disrespect us in that way. And we right over there, shopping and eating. And you have people come on, that man did this for me. They always, it's just like Samuel Jackson and Django, just because he helps one or two black people don't mean he's still not, racist or have racist tendencies, and we'll still support people. It's like, I don't understand that slave mentality, boy. Got us in a pickle right now, man. It's like we will support white people at all costs, but then denigrate each other. I don't understand that. And we would justify still supporting these people that treat us bad.
After
you don't think it's engraved into us? Because during slavery, they pit us against each other. And they did it for years and years to come with the buck breaking and the fighting between slaves for show and entertainment.
It's the house Negro versus the field Negro. That Willie Lynch syndrome is real. Let me create this division amongst them so that they can continue to fight. I tell people all the time, I hate when people say, I'm not racist. I got black friends. I'm racist. You can be married to a black man and still be racist. That particular black man, you can still have racist views towards the entire black community, because and still be married or have kids that are mixed and stuff. We see it all the time. That doesn't mean anything, and that's the problem. It's sad, man.
Yep. Last thing, and I know we got to go here shortly. With them talking about getting rid of the Department of Education, and if they do, I mean, you have the greatest insight, as well as you too, Micah. How can we go ahead and start getting prepared now in case they do cause any havoc with the Department of Education, with the funding or the resources, or just for kids being able to learn?
One, you can't get rid of the Department of Education just by the stroke of a pen. That is unconstitutional. Only Congress passed a law establishing the Department of Education. That's the reason why he's being sued right now in court for stopping and freezing spending. You can't do that. When he swore to uphold the Constitution, the laws of this country, he swore to implement and enforce those laws that are already on the books. And that's the reason why the judges have stepped in and said, you can't do that. If you can do that, then we might as well say, let's ball this democracy up, throw the trash, and we're a dictatorship now. If he can just come in and say, we're going to stop this and going to do that. No, they can roll over and allow him to do that, but legally they can't. And that's the reason why we have, for everybody out there, we have three branches of government. We have the legislative branch, who draft bills and make laws. We have the executive branch, who enforce the law. They're not a dictator. They enforce the law. They sign the bills that Congress passed into law. Then you have the judicial branch. I teach it like this right here. The judicial branch is like the umpire of a football or a baseball game. They call balls and strikes. They determine the law, if the laws that are passed and signed by the president is constitutional, because we know that the Constitution is the highest law of the land. And that is the reason why we have this system of checks and balances. I won't get too much in the weeds. There's this Federalist paper called Federalist 51 that the father of the Constitution, James Madison, authored, who stated it is incumbent that we have a government that has three branches of government, because they feared if we don't, we will come back to where we are now at that time, where we may have a government similar to Great Britain, and they fear that. So he put in place and they put in place three branches of government so that no one government branch becomes too powerful, and that all the branches can check each other when they step out of line. Right now, we're seeing a check on Donald Trump's authority, where all these executive orders that he did, all this pomp and circumstance, most of the ones that people are scared about got frozen or got held up and pretty much said it's unconstitutional. So we have three branches of government, y'all. And right now they're holding up. But we could end up in a constitutional crisis because we got a weak jelly bean back Republican Party who will not hold him accountable. And there's a memo in the Justice Department that states you cannot indict a sitting president, which I don't agree with, because that's not what the intent of the founders were. So basically, if he's to be held accountable, the Republicans will have to support the Democrats to impeach and remove him from office. You need 67 votes to remove a president from office after they're impeached. You have 47 Democrats. You do the math. How many more Republicans do you need in order to remove him from office? So the only accountability factor is Congress. But right now, Congress ain't going to hold him accountable because the Republicans are scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I see it, I think they have a better chance of invoking the 25th Amendment before they do impeachment.
Yeah. Impeachment ain't going to do anything. Right now, we're in trouble, y'all, with this man. And see, here's the crazy thing. He can entice these people to do lawless things. And guess what? How he's wielding this pardon power, they'll do crazy things and can sell us out. And guess what? They won't be held accountable because guess what he'll do? He will pardon them. He has politicized everything he accused Biden of. He has politicized the Justice Department to do his bidding. He has put his minions in there. At least you can say Joe Biden put old boring, what's the guy's name just left in there to remain at bay and not get involved in the president not get involved in the Justice Department's business. Now Trump is going to be using that as his personal law firm.
Yeah, he is. He is. And then me and my wife had this discussion earlier this week. Did y'all see the interview when they asked him about his VP being the successor?
Donald Trump is smart. He want that man. The reason why he's not going to endorse him, he want him like his lapdog to do everything he wants him to do. So I want you to work and tap and dance for this endorsement. For me,
but did you see how quick he said no? Like he could have at least glazed it, but he came straight out and said no. And the whole purpose of picking a VP is what?
To hold on to power.
Well, no.
To succeed.
You pick that person based on them being able to take your place day one with you being incapacitated or no longer there.
But see, Donald Trump don't care about anybody but himself. And for the people that support him, it's so funny for them to not see that. Donald Trump only cares about himself. He don't care what happens 4 years after this. Donald Trump wanted to stay out of jail. He accomplished that. Donald Trump wanted to pardon all his people. Now, I don't see any of these folks who are ardent support. See, my problem with them is, yeah, you can be a Republican. Yeah, we can differ on issues. Yeah, we can differ on many things. But when you sit up here and have the audacity to say and not say anything when this man pardons 1,500 criminals who charged the Capitol, who injured police officers, the people who said they are the party of law and order, and you don't stand up and push back on that. And these are the Christian pastors I'm talking about too that support him. Now, you preach all this stuff about the Beatitudes and the fruits of the Spirit and all this other stuff, and you say this is okay? I have a problem with that. See, your whiteness trumps your Christianity.
Yeah. My breaking point is racism, regardless of your tax bracket, your religion, any of that. My breaking point is racism. So. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I can support anybody. I got Republican friends. I sound like them sometimes when I got black friends. But we talk. And some of them on principle could not support Donald Trump. And I respect them even more now as a Republican because they know what's going on. Like, this is a stain on who they are as Republicans, right? But for this man ain't no Republican. This is the MAGA party. They need to call this the MAGA party because it's not even Republicans. If you look at Republicans, the original Republican Party was founded to end slavery. That's why most black people voted Republican up until like the 1960s. Like we switched parties.
Yeah. But man, great info as always. Before we get out, man, Valentine is coming up. Do you guys celebrate Valentine?
I can't celebrate. Y'all married. I'm out of this.
Yeah. Well, you might have to get 2 or 3 Valentines.
On Valentine this year, he's still an eligible bachelor.
Still an eligible bachelor. Any ladies out there looking for a co-host from the Cornerstore? That's
man.
a great kid.
We gotta pump it up. He's a co-host from the Cornerstore. He's teacher of the year. He's brilliant, raising 2 superstar sons.
He's connected in Atlanta. He's connected
in Atlanta.
He gets invitations from the who's who. So he's always needing a date to go to, some invite that's private. So ladies,
always.
We need you
If
to
you
help
hang
my
around,
boy out.
you'll have an excuse to shop, buy ball gowns all the time. Listen, this is the guy.
Hey,
He
I'm
won't
going
even take you
online.
to Target no more.
I'm gonna do online dating after Valentine's Day.
Just don't be on Grindr, dog. Yeah, man. Before we go, let's do a few shout outs. We got big bruh Rodney Dinkins in the building. My cousin Kenny Berry in the building. What's up, cuzzo? And on Facebook, I saw a whole bunch of names. We had Darren Lewis, Kathy Howard, Eric Lowe, Gerard, my bro Sean Ward from Atlanta, Felicia Johnson, Ricky Arthur, Antonio Reynolds, and it looks like we had a lot of other people that aren't on now, but we appreciate you guys checking in with us.
Appreciate
The
it.
GOAT once again, Coach Hall, William Hall, one of one. Thank you for joining the show tonight. That was a great interview, great insight. Still has that memory, still inspirational. So thank you once again, Coach Hall. We're gonna try to do this again. We got some co-hosts who couldn't make it tonight, but when we come back, we're definitely gonna bring that good information, and we're gonna get back to storytelling. You know, I've been doing all these Black History things coming up, man. It's bringing back a lot of great memories.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get back to storytelling. So Micah, Edmund, dig in your bag deep. Just bring back them stories. I think Roderick has the best stories, and he's a pretty good storyteller.
Hey, that's why we can open the lineup. I know it's a lot of stories out there that people
Got it.
can want to tell, man.
Yeah, we're gonna open the line for you guys to come up. I mean, if you don't want to show your face, just have your audio, and feel free to join the show with us, man. I'll drop the links going forward, and we'll just take it from there.
Because there's a lot of questions I still need answers to that Shannon been bringing up. Like, why y'all call certain people their nicknames? I don't know the story behind none of this. Why do drop in and do drop in? Why? Like, what? I need the history.
I know you got Dewdrop in. Why is Gooseneck? Why is Manassas? Why is the Sand Hill? Like, it's so many whys. So if you know out there, drop it in the chat. And then if not, just bring them to the show with us next time or inbox me, and I'll get those Black History stories out there with it. All right, other than that, man, thank y'all for tuning in to the Corner Store. Until next time, peace and love.
Peace.